You are listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. I'm Elena Paweta, Executive Communication Coach and TEDx organizer. With each episode, I'll share with you communication tips and ideas from top business leaders to help you excel in your career. Welcome to the next episode of Ideas and Leaders podcast. Today I have a great guest. It is Laetitia Andrac, and it is my friend with whom we recently were on the retreat with Denise Duffield Thomas at her farm. So I'm super excited to have Laetitia. She's an energetics and strategy business mentor, also known as business doula. She's a founder of Essential Shift Consulting, where she helps women leaders and entrepreneurs in creating a soul-aligned business, career, and life without burning out. So today we're going to speak about intuition in business, how to use it. Hi, Laetitia. Great to see you.
Hello, Elena. So nice to be with you on your podcast. Thank you for having me. I missed you since the retreat. It's been a few weeks now.
Yes. It's great to see you again. So, Laetitia, I know, and we discussed a lot about it. A lot about what you're doing during the retreat. And I know that you had your own retreat after this. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and how did you get to this place? What is your story? How did you get to mentor women on their soul-aligned businesses?
Yes, thank you for asking, Elena. So I actually started this business by accident in a way. I have been a business entrepreneur, like serial entrepreneur for 7 years, trialing and failing other businesses. And along the way, some of my friends were like, can you mentor us? Can you help us? And this is how I started this business, actually, through my own journey, my own mistakes, and weaving together my 15 years of experience as a strategy consultant, as someone who grew businesses within big corporations, who mentored startups since 2008. So I have been in that field for so long, but I never thought about selling this as a service. I was trying to create startup and scale up and other businesses on the side, as side hustle. And a lot of my friends who were entrepreneurs were like, we really need you to help us in the way you do it, in the way you've learned it. And this is how I did, but initially I was only doing strategy and innovation, my corporate job. I was a general manager in a big corporation in Australia. And then after a few months doing it, some of my friends were like, the way you mentor, the way you coach is very energetic. It's very spiritual. It's very intuitive. And I was like, yeah, for sure. I come from a family of healer. I started meditation at the age of 5. I lived in India 17 years ago. So I was like, sure, there is spirituality infused into it. And little by little, I was like, okay. So I was literally guided down my path by my clients, by the people who trusted me as my first client, the first member of my community. And more, I weaved the spirituality, the energetics, the intuition with the deep strategy and actionable tips. And all of this, really the connecting the dots backwards from Steve Jobs at the Stanford, introductory discourse that he made. It's really what happened. I remember that day, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is why I did all the things that I did. It's to be where I am today. And one of my clients was like, oh my gosh, you're such a doula. You're helping me birth new ideas. You're helping me birth a new way to my business. And this is when I decided to carve a name for my work, being a business doula. So that's it in a nutshell. And I actually studied to be a doula just to understand the birth and the incredible powers that we have when we birth kids. And it makes sense. I am a business doula.
Yeah, I really love it. Business doula. It is so catchy, and it really explains what you're doing. So I know that we use intuition in our business, and many of us, we use it subconsciously. We are not realizing that.
Yes.
Oh yes, let's stop thinking and start using my intuition. We are connecting those dots that, as you mentioned, and we sometimes think, oh, this is a coincidence, or I can use this place and this person, and then to connect everything and do something. But I think that we don't use it consciously. So do you have any tools how we can start using this intuition consciously and how it can help us?
Yes. So the first things that I always encourage my clients, the member of my community, the people that I support to start using intuition is first to be conscious that we are all intuitive. We all have intuition as part of our DNA, as part of who we are. So stop telling yourself you're not intuitive and it's only for the psychic, for the medium, for those who are connected to a superpower or whatever you believe in. You are all intuitive. And as we know, we can make decision from instinct, which is different to intuition. We can make decision from intuition, and we can make decision from our rational brain, primal brain. So really opening the possibility. And if you listen to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I truly don't believe that we can be intuitive, you can start doing research. And there is more and more science backing this, that we actually have all being are intuitive. So first, it's opening the door of another way, which is a way of intuition, being like, yeah, intuition exists. I am ready to try it on. And if you are one of those, then I can start giving you exercise. But first of all, I just want you to be open in your heart, like opening your heart, opening your mind, and opening your will to welcoming intuition into your life. Mm-hmm. Then once you've done that, you can, sorry, you want to ask a question?
Yes, and Laetitia, I just wanted to stop you for a moment, because there are some people who are actually like numbers oriented, who are finance oriented, like my husband, for example. I would say, if I can't put it in an Excel spreadsheet, then it doesn't exist. And I know that many people like that, they're also listening to us, they're business leaders. We have a lot of entrepreneurs, business leaders listening to our podcast. So how would you persuade them? What would you tell them to start actually believing and to start using intuition?
I will not, make them believe in something that they're not ready to believe in. I'll just invite them to try it on, because I come from a background of a very rational study. So some of you may not know, but I have a master in science, in entrepreneurship, and in strategy. And I worked even in data science when I was a general manager for a big firm here in Australia. So I love data, and I'm very rational, and I know the power of the rational. And I also know how sometimes people who are in the rational are not open to receive what I am saying. And however you react to what I'm saying, it is okay. I meet you where you are, but I'm not going to change you into welcoming intuition if you're not ready. I trust in divine timing, and I trust in the fact that if you're tuning into this episode today and you've listened to the first few minutes and you're like, okay, let's give this chick a go. Let's really listen to her and go into what is intuition. Then you can go along with me. If you're someone who is not yet open to it, that's okay. Being very compassionate with yourself, and you'll be ready one day potentially to open to intuition, or maybe never, and that's okay. It's just another way to be, and I'm welcoming you into my world if you're ready to listen about intuition. If you're not, there is no way to push through that. It's not a pushing in, it's an inviting in.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So for those who are ready and who are still with us, how would you recommend them to actually work on their intuition?
So some things that I love to invite people who are really starting in their journey in tuning in to this intuition, this sixth sense, this ability to feel, to know things, to trust their gut, all of this kind of word that we may use for intuition. It's first to make space for this intuition to be manifested. If you are super busy, always on the go, or always looking at the rational step ahead, you're never leaving space for the intuition to be expressed, for you to listen to it, for you to tune into that space. So I would love for any of you who is listening to that to first invite space into their lifestyle, into their rhythm. And when I say that, don't think that I am living in, in an isolated land where I have 20 hours out of 24 by myself. No. I have 2 young kids. I have, a demanding career. I am a real person in the real world. Still, space can be invited. It can be as simple as 15 minutes a day where you daydream, where you're sitting outside looking at the wind on the tree and the leaves moving and the sky, and really feeling this connection with nature, this connection with the element, and stepping outside. So the first thing is inviting space. Once you are in the spaciousness, in this moment where you're not like go, like intuition will not come when you're in the go, and oh my gosh, this flight or fight mode will not invite your intuition to be expressed. You need to be in this parasympathetic nervous system where you're very relaxed and very connected and ready to receive this guidance. So that's why I invite space. And then when you're there, when you've tapped into that space, it's asking a question. You ask a question and you feel in your heart an expansion, a movement forward, or in your guts, this kind of butterfly in your gut. Yes, this is it. It's this kind of full body yes that we described. And then there you have the answer, the intuitive answer, where you're not scared. You don't have any emotions attached to it. You just know, and you feel this peaceful, this knowing, this is right. This is right. No more question. It is done. And this comes from a place of, I am spacious. I am activating my parasympathetic nervous system. From there, I'm asking my question. And then I listen within. And I shut down all the things that are outside of me. The parents who may say this, the uncle, the husband, the wife, the kids. No. You are your own leader in that moment, by connecting with your own intuition, reconnecting with your own self-leadership. And when you are a leader, you need to, even more than ever, rely on your intuition. Lots of your decision will not make sense. Your team may not understand your decision, but when you make them from a place of intuition, and you can go through anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that this moment that you're describing as knowing, as you feel it in your heart or feel it in your gut, I think that it is hard to understand with your mind. So for example, when I'm trying to relax, to meditate, my mind is constantly active and my thoughts are there, and at some point it is hard to understand whether it is an intuition or maybe it is just my mind playing games and drawing some scenarios. So how to actually understand that, yes, this is the intuition speaking and this is my mind speaking?
Yes. So the way I often say you notice the differentiation is when it's your mind thinking, you always give yourself reason. You're like, oh, this is why, and this is this, and this is that. And you have the list of the pro and the cons. You're in the thinking mode. Whereas when it's your intuition, there is no more question. It's just, yeah, this is it. It's how I jumped all in my business. Didn't make sense. It was the middle of COVID. It was March 2021. I was a general manager about to be promoted as an executive director in one of the biggest firms in Australia, like having $500,000 in salary. What the fuck? Doesn't make sense. I knew. It was time. I was ready. And you have the calmness in your heart. You know it. It's like you don't have any chatter, and you don't need to ask anyone for their advice, their permission. It's really this moment where you reclaim your light, as I call it in my book, where you reclaim your own authority, where you reclaim back your sovereignty, where you reclaim back your authenticity, your authentic voice. This is that moment where you listen to your intuition. So there is no chatter. There is no like, tick, 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 tick. It's silence, basically. And it takes practice. The first few times you try to take a decision from your intuition, You may be like, oh no, it's impossible actually, because my head is too strong. And that's okay, because we are living in a society which negated intuition for decades, for millennials. It's about remembering how decisions were made before in synchronicity with nature, with a cycle of nature, in a oneness with all that is around us. And we've negated that for centuries. So it's about reclaiming this back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you usually work with your clients with this? How does it help them with their businesses? And how can we use it as business leaders?
Yes. So I love this question. So for instance, we can take a very simple practice around intuitive pricing. So when we set pricing, we've been told to set pricing, just looking at what the competition is doing. And this is a good price, and this is a low price, and this is a high price. So I love to look at the data for sure, looking at what's happening around you, looking at your profit, looking at your cost, looking at your revenue. All of that, of course, is essential. But this is not how we define pricing with my clients. Then what we do is we embrace intuitive pricing. So then we play with numbers. So we look at, okay, so rationally, our pricing. So I have, for instance, a client, which is a startup. It's a subscription-based startup which provides a software as a service. Let's take this as an example without telling what this startup is about. But let's say it's a monthly subscription of $100 for the simplicity of the exercise. We're like, okay, so the competition, okay, let's put $100 per month for this to be a subscription, a software as a service. Okay, great. Then what do? We don't land on 100. Then we tune into our intuition, because this is where you tune into your magnetism in your pricing. So then we tune into the intuition and we're like, okay, so is this the right price? So you can use muscle testing. You can use, I love to invite my client to use Oracle card to confirm their intuition when they start doing it. So we're like, okay, so 110. So either you do muscle testing. If you're not familiar with muscle testing, you can Google it. You will find multitude of video on YouTube. You don't need me to teach you here and now. Or what we love to do is to use Oracle card as well. I love to use Oracle card with my client, Oracle card where you have numbers, and then we pull an Oracle card and it's like, okay, it's 25. Okay, so is it 125? And then you notice how you react in your body, not in your mind. We looked at the mind, we looked at the number. It is fine. If we sell at $100, we're making profit, we're well positioned in the competition. If we sell at 125, how does it feel? And then you know if it's the right pricing. And then if you're like, okay, I can go further, we pull another card. Imagine it's a card which is 37. Okay, 137. Oh, no, doesn't feel good. Okay, let's go back. And this is how we land on a pricing, which is a pricing that then when you announce your pricing to anyone, you have this authority that is indestructible. So if people are like, oh, it's too expensive, too bad, that's a price. Or if someone is like, oh, that's too low, too bad, that's a price. You have this authority because you came up with a pricing, yes, with the data, with the rational and all that. I'm not here to tell you, just look on the crystal ball and this is how you have the answer. No. It's all about weaving the two. And when we use either muscle testing or Oracle card, some of my clients love to use pendulum. So I will, explain to them how to use pendulum. When you access the level of intuition that is more advanced with my client, we don't even need all of those tools. We're just like, okay, so this is a rational. How much do we price? 222. Okay, great. That's the price. And it is done. Mm-hmm. And then there is no like, oh, I need to adjust. Then you back your price with your full energy and the clients flow in. Because it's pure alignment between the pricing, the vibration of this price, your own vibration, the vibration of your business, the impact you're meant to have. And as I always say to my client, I'm here to serve impact-driven businesses. Impact meaning impact on the planet, positive impact on the planet, on people, on profit. If you're not making profit in your business, you can't have the impact that you want to have, because then you cannot fund some foundation, some NGO, some positive things that you want to impact. You cannot offer scholarship. You need to look at the people, the planet, and the profit.
Yeah.
So a very simple example around intuitive pricing. And it's so powerful. Like all of my clients are all like, oh my gosh. And then they announce their pricing to the world, and where before they were stuck, not receiving, not having anyone signing up to their subscription, to their course, to their program, to their consulting services, just then, what did you do, Laetitia? I didn't do anything. You did it. You opened it.
Yeah, this is a pricing approach that we will never learn in a business school. So make notes, dear listeners. This is a really effective one, because I remember that we discussed it during the retreat also, because I was thinking about how to price my course, and now I know exactly what will be the price, because I did some work and on this, and now I just know what will be the price for the course, because before I was thinking, but now I'm absolutely sure that this is what it is supposed to be. So this actually works in a way that you feel that something is right. You feel that it is not just your
thinking. It's this feeling of yes. No, go ahead.
Yeah, so it is not just your thinking that you made the analysis and what are the price in the market, but you decided it yourself, and I think that it's very powerful.
Yes. So, and I have worked in strategic pricing, right? So I have done strategic pricing for multi-million, even billion-dollar businesses when I was in strategic consulting. So I'm not afraid of doing the data crunching and looking at the rational, and we do it with my clients. But then we invite the intuition. And this is when, as you've described, you know it, and you're so confident, so comfortable, so backing it, that as a leader, it is essential, because then your team will look at you and be like, so how much do we price this? How do we market it? If you're like, I don't know, what do you think about this? And what about this price? And then, of course, everyone is going to project on you their own story around pricing, their own journey with money, their own, like everything will be back at you. Whereas when you own the thing, no one can make you move.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And Laetitia, I know that your book is coming out in several months, and I'm very interested in it because it will be also about the intuition in business and about your framework that you developed and that you're using with your clients. So can you tell us a little bit more about your book?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much, Elena. So my book is all about weaving intuition in the way you run your business. And the way I describe intuition in the book is called your light. Light is the way I describe intuition, because if I speak about intuition, if I speak about, everything that is spiritual, some people will attach spirituality meaning to it. Whereas when I deconstruct it and it is the light framework, people are like, yes, I want to feel lighter in business. Yes, I want to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, I want to understand what it is to light my way, to see things differently. So this is why my book is all about the light framework. So then, because being mindful that I support big leader of big corporation here in Australia or other in the US or in Europe, like I have clients all over the world, and some of them are CEO of big corporations. Some of them are CEO of startup, scale up, or, founders that are just starting out their business. But all of them, if I speak about intuition, they'll be like, not sure about this. Whereas if I speak about the light framework, they're like, about your framework. What is a light framework? So it's tricking them into a new way of thinking with a framework. So light stands for us in this episode, about intuition now. So stands for your intuition. But the framework is about the L of the light is about leaning in. If you don't lean in, which is what I described at the beginning of this, if you don't lean in, if you don't believe in what I'm talking about, if you don't want to trust this new way, then it's better not to go through the process. Come back when you're ready. But leaning is about leaning in, going all in. I go all in listening to my intuition. I go all in listening and connecting with my vision, with my visualization, with what I want to achieve in my business. So this is the L of the light framework. And I describe in the book exercises and all of that. But it's been proven now, again, by neuroscience and all of that, the power of visualization. I used to do competition, skiing competition, horse riding competition. It was all about visualizing. I would visualize myself winning the trophy, visualize myself through the different, slope on the ski and all of that. It's the power of visualization. It has been proven now, the power of it. So this is about leaning in. Mm-hmm. Then the I of the light framework is about illuminating your path forward. And here I teach some framework for you to illuminate your path forward, trusting your intuition. So what are the next steps? And diving into your intuition to know what are the next steps towards your vision, towards your big vision, towards what you want to achieve. The G of the light framework is about gathering. If you go by yourself, nothing will happen. You need to gather your family, your team member, your friends, your community, whatever it means for you, the term of gathering, because this book actually is for entrepreneurs, but many of the beta reader who are providing endorsement are like, oh my gosh, this is a book for a new way of life. But I'm like, okay, I'm just targeting entrepreneur for now, but maybe later it would be like the power of now, for everyone, from Eckhart Tolle. If you haven't read this book, please read it. But basically the G is about gathering. You start gathering all the pieces. And this is the analogy that I create in my book about creating your disco ball. If you create a disco ball, you will shine way brighter than if you're just by yourself, like one mirror in a disco ball, like gather everyone around you. Mm-hmm. The H of the light framework, which is the hardest for everyone that I've worked with, is about honoring. It's when you don't do anything, you're in the dark magic time, as I love to describe it with my clients. It's like, oh my gosh, I have done everything. When is it happening? Oh my gosh, I need to push harder. No, actually, you need to wait. It's like this wait, when you have a deadline for your birth, the birth, the time where you're supposed to give birth to your kid, but we know mm-hmm. only 5% of the women actually deliver on that day. It's data driven again. Only 5% of the women deliver on the day that they were told they will deliver their baby. So 95% of them deliver either before or after their birth date. And this is this moment where you need to honor the timing. And this is what happened in the H. Honoring. It will come in divine timing. And then the T is about the transformation. You've transformed, you became intuitive, you came into alignment with the vision that you had. And this is the T of the light framework. And this is an iterative framework. You can go back to the L, the I, the G, the H, and the T all along the process. It is cyclical, as I love to reflect with the cycle of nature. It is not a finite process. It's an infinite process that you can go through in all aspects of your business.
Mm-hmm. So we have leaning in, illuminating, gathering, honoring,
and transforming.
Great. So we have those 5 elements, and I would really love to learn more about it. So I know that the book is coming out in several months. Is it possible now to sign up for pre-sale?
Yes, so you can definitely sign up for the waitlist, which will be in the show notes. I've shared the waitlist link with Elena. And then maybe by the time you listen to this episode, we'll be on pre-sale on Booktopia, on Walmart.com, because I have a publisher which is in Canada. Funny story. I live in Australia, but my publisher is in Canada. So we'll be in different websites where you can order them. So if it's ready on pre-sale, when this episode is out, we'll put it. But otherwise, I invite you to join the waitlist, because everyone that is on the waitlist or will buy the book on pre-sale will get access to incredible bonuses from myself, having access to different meditation and courses and things that I will only give for those who support the book early on, of course.
Great, great. I'm definitely signing up, guys, and I'll put the link under the episode so that you can jump there and sign up as well. And Laetitia, if our listeners want to reach out to you, to contact you, where can they find you?
So you can go on my website, essentialshift.co for community, because it's a community. Like one of my key values is community. Otherwise, you can connect with me on Instagram at essential.shift, or I am very active on LinkedIn as well, Laetitia Andrac, under Laetitia Andrac. I'm sure the link will be in the show notes, and don't hesitate to connect with me on LinkedIn, ask any questions. And I have my own podcast. So as you're listening and you're already on a podcast platform, you can go and search for the Essential Shift podcast, where I interview guests who are clients of mine, sharing their story of reconnecting with their intuition and their path. And I have solo episode as well. If you're ready to listen more around the practicality and the strategy, as well as the spiritual practices that you can bring into your leadership and your business.
Perfect. So guys, follow Laetitia and follow her podcast. Support her upcoming book. Thank you so much, Laetitia, for joining this episode. It was such a pleasure to connect with you again and to learn more about intuition. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. Did you enjoy this episode? Let me know that you listened by tagging me in your LinkedIn profile and using a hashtag Ideas and Leaders. See you in the next episode.